Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to rig the Flash's arm here. But before I do that, I want to set up my node view because you can't just start building a character in the node view like this. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get a lot of these nodes here, hundreds of them. So what we want to do is we want to create a little folder in here. And it's really easy to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these out. So I'm going to box select them and cut them and paste them. Cut and paste. Control X, Control V. And then I'm going to hook them all up to their own composite. So this is a composite here. If you want a composite, you press Control H. You get a composite here. But if you box select your drawing nodes and press Control H, they will automatically get plugged into the composite here, which is really useful. And we're going to leave the color card here. I'm going to lock that. We're going to leave the color card onto the main composite. This is your main composite. It's the main one because it has a write attached to it, and it's got the display here. So I'm going to create this a little folder with these guys, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to group them together by pressing Control G. Now, I've talked about Control G before in the camera view where you can group line art together or drawing objects together. But if your mouse is hovering over the node view here, you can box select your nodes and press Control G. It will create a group here. And of course, we want to see those nodes, so we're going to plug them into the main composite. So all it is, it's a little folder, and if we go inside here by clicking on this little gray arrow, this is what's happening on the inside. So we have a multi-port in and a multi-port out. The multi-port out is basically this string here that comes out. And the multi-port in is this green port here that allows you to get a peg attached to it. So if you press Control P, you'll get a peg, and if you click on your group and press Control P, you will get a peg that's attached to it. And this green string goes on the inside from the multi-port into your drawings. So that's all there is to it. But before I do that, I'm going to call this the Flash. Now I already have a node that's called the Flash. I think it's this drawing here. So I don't know if Harmony will let me use this this name here. Let's go check it out. Okay, it works. That's fine. So now that I have my name here, I'm going to get a peg going, and the peg will be named the same as the group. It will have a -P to indicate that it's a peg. So I'm going to go inside here and start moving things around. Now, when you build a rig, what you want to do is you want to build a rig from the head to the feet here. And it's just like if the character is lying down and the head is here and the feet are over here at the other end. So let's go ahead and create some backdrops. So if you want a backdrop, you can go to this little hamburger menu here. Zoom in on that for you. This little hamburger menu right here inside the node view, right? So you click on this hamburger menu, you go down to insert and then backdrop. Now I use the backdrops quite a lot, so I have set them to my shortcut key, which is the tilde key, because there's nothing assigned to the tilde key. You're going to get this little backdrop here, and you can just expand by clicking on the corner here and making it grow. So, and you can also change the color by clicking on the little drop down, the little yellow box here, and you can change the color. There's all these colors here you can choose from. It doesn't really matter. And we're going to give it a name. We're going to call this head. We're going to close it. And I'm going to go into full view in the node view here. So I'm going to press F for full view. When you press it once, it makes Harmony full view, and then if you press it again, it will make whichever window your mouse is over, full view. So here I have a head. I'm going to hit my tilde key again to get another backdrop here. This is going to be the torso. And I'm going to get another window here, another backdrop. This is going to be, let's say, arm 1. Let's change the colors here. And I'm not going to make another window for arm 2, because what we're going to do is we're going to rig one arm and then we're going to copy it and duplicate it. So arm 1, it's going to be arm 2 over here. Next up, we're going to have the hips. Hips here, let's choose a different color. And then we need some legs. So again, I'm just using the backdrop. The backdrop is in the hamburger menu under Insert, Backdrop. But I have a shortcut for it. So if you want to set a shortcut, you can go to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, type in Backdrop, Create Backdrop. You click on it, and then you come over here, you click this thing, this little box here, and you press whichever shortcut key you would like the backdrop to be on. I think it's a good place to have it on the tilde key. The tilde key is the key on your keyboard on the left of the 1. So your number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you go to the very extreme of your keyboard on the left under the escape button, that's your tilde key. And then you click OK. So we have hips here. I'm going to do leg 1. And you don't want to say right leg or left leg, because, you know, is it the character's right leg, or is it your left, or is it the screen left? And what if you flip the character? So I write leg number 1 and leg number 2, and arm number 1 and arm number 2. And then that's it. So we're going to put all of the pieces of our character in here. And this multi-port in is going to go at the very top of the screen here. And the bottom composite, let's see, the main composite is going to go at the very bottom of the screen like this, right here. So these are some of the things that I've already drawn. Now, because we're not rigging just yet, we're just drawing, we don't need those green cables, because the green cables go to the pegs and we don't need pegs. So I'd like to cut those cables all in one swoop. So you can go over here to the cable cutters. Cable cutter. If you don't have these tools here, you can right click in the gray area and choose node view. You're going to see the cable cutters. We're going to click on that and we're going to just swipe across the cables and let go. Now once you've done that, you still have the cable cutters, so we're going to go and uncheck that button. And we can see here that I've already drawn a forearm and a hand, and the rest of the arm is in here. So I'm going to grab these, I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to put them in under arm 1. And what we want to do for each piece here, we want to give it its own composite. So Control H, and then if you want to plug in these things into the composite, there's different ways of doing it. You can either plug it like this, but now we have 2 wires, or you can hold Alt and just slide it in here, and then plug the other ones in here, which I find is easier, because now they are all going into this wire here. So I'm going to be working just on this arm here, and as long as these things are plugged in, get rid of that. As long as they are plugged into the main composite, you will see them on the camera view. And you can put a composite in all of the other spots here. Control H. We can just get it ready. Control H for Control H. And all these composites are going to go down at the bottom here. Oops. Okay, so now we're going to work on this arm. We're going to rig this arm in this video. So let's press F for full screen because we want to get out of the full screen. And now we can see both our rig here. All right, and this is the work that I did in the previous video. So what you want to do is you want to have each piece on its own, like that. Now, because this is going to be a complex rig. So a simple rig is like, let's say, Homer Simpson. That's kind of like it's an easy design, right? But because superheroes have muscles and we want those muscles to be able to rotate and move around, like if you move your arm, your bicep is going to go from there to there, right? If you move your arm around. And so this is the bicep here, and this is the tricep. You can see it right here. This is the shoulder. And because if I just have the muscles, then it's going to look like this, and this area here will be missing. So I'm putting this extra piece of the arm that's going to act kind of like the rest of the arm, like the base of it. And right now I'm just shaping this using my white arrow here. The white arrow is called the contour editor. So I'm clicking here, and I want to set up this arm and make sure that that goes around this red circle here. So I'm gonna, and I need more vertices, so I'm gonna hit Control, hover over the line here, and just click, and then I can edit the line here a little bit. So that's kind of cool. I want to get this red square here. If you want to navigate from one piece to another, you can take the black arrow and just hold Control and click on that piece. So as you can see here, this is kind of like transparent because the hand is drawn in here, and right now we're in this drawing here. So if I want to come here, I can either click on this or this, or I can hold Control and actually just click the drawing, and it will take me to that drawing. So that's a nice shortcut there. So I don't need this red circle anymore because I have rigged it in the previous video, but I'm going to put this right over here, and this is a circle that I drew, and I put this little red dot right in the middle of this circle. Now if you haven't seen my other videos, I suggest you go and check those out before looking at this one here. By the way, leave a like, subscribe, and share this video out there if you're finding it useful. So yeah, so now when I rig this arm piece here, I'll be able to put the rotation point right here, which will be useful. Now I do have a pectoral muscle there, which is going to be, that has to belong, the head here has to go into the head area. So I'm just going to cut the head out, Control X, and I'm going to zoom out here and go inside the head, and I'm going to put a fresh drawing in there, Control R, and we have, I think, the skull, the jaw, and the neck. So I'm going to put in skull, I'm going to click Add, I'm going to put in jaw, I'm going to click Add, and I'm going to put neck, and click Add and Close. I have 3 drawing nodes here. I'd like to organize them properly, so we can box select them. We can box select them here, and then come over here to this button, Align Nodes Horizontally. It looks like this. Just going to click on that, and then boom. I'm going to plug those in here. I'm going to plug this composite all the way into my main composite. And now I'm going to paste those drawings in here. So I'm going to come over here and click Control V. And there's the neck here, but I would like to put the jaw in here. So I'm going to Control X, cut it, come over here, come back here, paste it. I'm going to go back to this here, Control X, and paste that into the skull. So now I have the neck, the skull, and the jaw. Now, because the jaw goes behind because the neck goes behind the jaw, I'm going to reverse the order here. The neck is in the back, and then we have the skull, and then the jaw is in front. Right now you can't see it all that much because there's no paint. But yeah. And in the torso, we're going to need the pectoral muscles. So I'm just going to go ahead and press Control R. Say pec. And click Add and Close. So we can just grab a wire from here and then zoom out. And then press the space bar here. You press the space bar to move around, by the way. And we're going to go and paste. I'm pressing 1 and 2 to zoom in and out. And so I really want that pectoral muscle to exist in this node here. So Control, click, cut it, Control X, click here, come back here and paste it, Control V. So I think that's it for that. Now I'm going to go ahead and work this arm here. So we have the hand, we have the forearm, and we have the rest of these muscles here. Now, each one of those have to go in their own drawing nodes. And so this is a really neat trick I'm going to share with you. This, let's do them all at the same time. So instead of like creating a node and copying and pasting and creating nodes and copying and pasting, we're just going to distribute these things. There's 4 things, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to distribute them to their drawing nodes on their own. So I'm going to box select all these things here. I'm going to go to, haven't done this in a bit, distribute to layers. Distribute to layers. It's right here under drawing. So go under the drawing tab and click distribute to layers. Now watch what happens. Now this is a little strange, but they have been distributed to layers, but we don't know exactly where they are in the node view. They're somewhere out in the ether. So I can see there's like this green string here. So I'm just going to zoom out like crazy here. And look at that. They are right over here. They're down here. 1, 2, 3, right? So they're all here. And it's a bit of a mess. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them. Control X. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go back into my arm here. I'm going to paste them here. Control V. I'm going to organize them. Align nodes. And then instead of plugging each one at a time, I'm going to press Control H. It's going to make me a composite. I'm going to plug the composite in here. And then I'm just going to get rid of the composite, and all these wires are going to go down here. Watch. Control X. I'm going to cut that composite. Boom. So, and now I can reorganize all of these drawings again. So, click here. Now I have a nice little tree here. But as you can see, I need more room. That's normal as you're building a rig. So I'm just going to drag the corner of this box here, give myself more room. And so when you are building a character, your node view will constantly get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's very normal. But what the backdrops are nice because it, instead of box selecting and moving everything, you can just click the top and move things like this. Right? If you need more room. And if you want to move those, you can box select them and then just click on any one and then move them around a little bit. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and name each one. So if I click on this one, it highlights whichever node that is. So I'm just going to say this is the arm. I'm going to call that arm. Close it. This one here, oh, that's the bicep. So I'm going to call this one bicep. And this one here is the tricep. This one here has nothing. This was the old drawing node that had all of these in there. So I don't need this anymore. So I'm just going to cut it out, Control X. And now would be a good time to save. I'm going to save here. And when I originally started this file, it was just a file to like mess around in, because I did some previous lessons, and it was kind of, I was just kind of going through the tools and things like that. And so I named this file Delete Me. But now I changed my mind. I want to save this file, and I want to call this file the Flash Rig. So I'm going to go over to File, Save As. So if you go Save, it will just save the file. Okay, but if you go Save As, this is for when you want to change the file name and perhaps change its location in your computer. So I'm going to go to Save As, and I'm going to go and save this. I have this folder here called Rigs and BGs for background. So this is where I save all my rigs. So I'm going to go in here, click Open, and then I'm going to call this the Flash. And I'm going to click Save. And what it's going to do is, you can see all the different rigs I have in here. But now it's going to create an extra folder, and the folder will be called the Flash. So I'm going to click Save. And if we look up here, the name should change. Oh, it's still saving. So if you get that spinning wheel, just leave it alone. Don't start clicking everywhere. That's just Harmony thinking. And then there we go. It says right up here. Oh, that didn't work. Go higher. You can see it says the Flash right there. So that's the name of my file. By the way, when you name your files, don't give it a super long name with funny characters. Keep the name short and use underscores. It's the best way to go. Alright, so now we're just going to name everything. So that's the hand. This one here is the shoulder. We can see the shoulder is highlighted there. By the way, if you don't have the light table on, it's going to look like this, which is really, you can't tell what's what. So always have this turned on here. This little light bulb and the blue diamond next to it. These two things. Light table and current drawing on top. Always. There's no reason not to have them on. So this is the shoulder. This is the forearm here. That's the tricep, that's the arm, and that's the bicep. Now the order matters. The arm here, that's going to be appearing in the back behind everything. So I'm going to plug it in the back, and I'm going to move it over here. And I would like the tricep in the back here. Bicep will be on top. We've got the forearm, the shoulder. So the shoulder is going to be, what you want to do is you want it to go like this. Whatever's at the bottom is going to appear on the left, and whatever's at the top is going to appear on the right. So it's going to go hand, forearm, shoulder, and the shoulder's up at the top. So the shoulder is going to come over here. So let's work this again. Hand, forearm, bicep, tricep, shoulder, and the arm in the back here. And now they need pegs, so we're going to give them all pegs. Control Shift P. And we're going to need some room, so we're going to bring them up here a little bit. And then we want to create a hierarchy, a parenting system, which means that when you click on the hand and you parent up, it's going to go to the forearm. And then you're going to parent up and it's going to go to the rest of the arm here. So we're going to create a little staircase, stairway to heaven here. We don't need one here, but we do need one for each one of these things. So we're going to select them all, press Control Shift P, and we're going to bring them up, and then we're going to make a little staircase like this. And as you can see, this one is starting to come out of the box that I have here, so we're going to make that bigger. Kind of like that. So now we're going to have our parenting system. So the hand is going to hook up to the forearm to the bicep, and the tricep, and the shoulder, and the arm. So now let's test it out. We're going to click on our transform tool here. I'm going to hide my drawing here. So I'm just going to disable it. So I'm clicking on this and pressing D for disable. I'm going to zoom out and then zoom back in here. And now watch. I'm going to click on the hand. See this yellow bounding box? It means that it's selected. Now I'm going to press B. B is going to parent up to the next available thing. So I'm going to press B. And okay, so we do have a little problem here. I'm going to go back into the forearm. And you can see that there's this red circle in there. I'm going to cut that out. And I meant to have pasted that in the arm here. So I'm going to paste it here. Let's go back and try our hierarchy. Clicking on the hand, B to parent up. We've got the forearm here, B to go up. And now we have the bicep and the tricep and the shoulder and the arm. So it looks good. However, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because once I parent up from this one, I would like to grab all of these guys together, like all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of these pegs here. Now this is specific for this arm, but any other arm you can have that go like that. So I'm just going to get rid of these. I'm going to press Control X, and the wires are going to go to the next available thing here, like that. So now it's like hand, forearm, and then it should grab all of these like that. And it looks like it works. Now the next thing we're going to have to do is set the rotation points. Now by default, the rotation points will be in the middle of the screen right there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this button here, the rotate tool. If you don't have that tool available, you need to right click and choose advanced animation. Click on your rotate tool, drag that over, and set it right on that circle there, so that now when you move this, it will rotate perfectly. If it's off by just a little bit, the hand will become unhinged from the wrist. So let's go to the next one in the forearm. Now I need to have that red circle with the red dot right in the middle, because I don't want to guess. So I'm going to go and grab this red circle. I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to paste it. Oh, I'll just have to move it. I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to make it so that it's touching the overlap of the other piece here. Kind of like that. Then I'm going to set the rotation point for the forearm. Zoom in, put that over here. And next one for the bicep. So for the bicep, I don't need to put it, anywhere too specific. I think I'm going to put it up here because not only is this a place to rotate, but it's also a place where you can squash and stretch. So when a character will flex his muscles, he'll be able to do that and flex his bicep, which is an okay spot for it. If you want to reset, you can press R. It will reset that piece. Now for the tricep, I think I'm going to set it up here. Like that, so that the character can flex like this, flex his tricep muscle. If you want to rotate your screen, you hold Alt and Control, by the way. You can rotate it using the animation disc, and then to bring it back, you press Shift M like mother. I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to do the shoulder. The shoulder is kind of a funny thing, so maybe I'll just put it up here. And the arm. Now for the arm, we're going to set it right on that little dot there. And then finally, for the entire arm, I'm going to set it over here as well, right there. So now let's test each one. So we've got the hand. If I press B, it will parent up. Oh look, I have to set my rotation point for this one because the rotation point is still in the middle of the screen there on this one. So grab my rotate tool, grab this dot, bring it right in here, like so. And now if I click on that peg and I rotate it, the arm stays perfectly aligned. The forearm stays perfectly aligned with the arm. And if I parent up, it grabs the entire arm. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, the shoulder becomes really unhinged here. That might be a problem later on. So I think I'm going to create another peg, and I'm going to call this one arm and shoulder. Arm and shoulder. And I'm going to unhook the shoulder here, and I'm going to put the shoulder up in this one. So now it's going to look something like this. So if I grab this one, I will be able to rotate the arm but not the shoulder. And if I want the shoulder to come along, I can press B to parent up, and it will grab both the shoulder and the arm. I just got to set the rotation point. Let's reset the entire arm here. I'm going to click on the backdrop and hit R for reset. We'll reset all the pieces. And then this one's good. And then this one, perhaps over here for the shoulder, like that. I think that works better. So now I can do that, and I can parent down and do this, right? And it doesn't look good right now, but it will later because we're going to be adding deformers. So voila. Now that I'm done rigging, I'm going to get rid of these red circles here. I'm just going to select them, holding Control and clicking on it, and then pressing delete. Now let's color everything. So I'd like to color all of them at the same time. I'm going to box select all of my drawing nodes here. I'm going to grab my paint, and I'm going to go into my colors, and we're going to need a palette. So we're going to create a palette. We're going to click on New Palette, and we're going to call this The Flash. And it's going to be a color palette. We're going to click OK. And then if we go, where is it? it's right down here. Now I have a lot of other palettes because I have so many characters, but if you look here, it says the Flash right there. That's my palette, and it only has one color. So we're going to call this lines. And next we need the red. So double click here, choose your red. We're not going to make it 100% red, we're just going to make it a little bit off. And we're going to close it. And now I'm going to grab my paint bucket and I'm going to choose paint unpainted. We're going to paint them all in one shot here. I'm just going to box select and let go. And look at that. Now I have painted the inside of his hand there, and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go to unpaint and just click here. So it's coming along. It doesn't look the best yet, but don't worry about that. I'd like the tricep to show up behind the arm there. I think that's a good spot for it. So I'm just switching the wires around. And then finally, we're going to do one last step before I finish this video. Let's save that. And then this is what you're going to need here. Let's go to our node library. And you are going to grab a line art. Drag it and drop it. This is the line art over here. We're also going to grab an overlay, a color art, and an underlayer. So let's do that. Color art. Right here, color art. We're going to need a overlay and an underlayer. And then finally, an auto patch. Auto patch. And a cutter. So these are all the things that you're going to need. Let's put them all in order, like this, like the art layers up here. So it goes like this: overlayer, line art, color art, underlayer, and auto patch. Looks like this. Now, I use this all the time, so I actually saved one. So I'm going to go in my library, and I call it the rigging tree. So I'm going to go under my composite here, grab my rigging tree, and I'm going to show you guys how to save this. I'm just going to drag it and drop it. Now, it doesn't show up here, but when I go back to the node view, if I zoom out, my rigging tree will be somewhere out in the ether, perhaps outside the rig. Yeah, it's right here. So I'm just going to cut that and go inside the Flash and paste it. So it looks like this. Now it looks like a mess, but all it is that I changed the name to OL, LACAUL, and AP, which means overlayer, line art, color art, underlayer, and auto patch. Just because when you leave the names on there, it just takes up so much room. That's why I don't like it. So you're going to set them up like this. So we need a composite, Control H. You can plug them all in here like that. The line art goes into the cutter here. And we're going to need an extra composite, Control H, and we're going to put this composite in here in the mask, and we're going to write a little note for ourselves. And you're going to write the note: the auto patch from other limb goes here. This is a little note from us to ourselves in the future. And you can see here that that's what I wrote for myself. The auto patch from the other limb goes here. This is the auto patch. And then once you have this, you can put a composite at the very bottom and just plug them all in here. And this is what your rigging tree will look like when you're done. Now you want to save that, so you can press, you can select it and go copy selection, go to your library, and then right click on Harmony Premium Library and choose Write to Modify. The padlock will disappear. You can go into this black spot, this black void here, right click and go paste. And then you can give it a name. You can call it rigging tree. Click OK. So you'll have it, you'll always have it in your library in case you forget how to make it. Okay, so I'm not going to use this one because of all the names are there and it takes up too much room. This one here is just more compact. So this is the cool part. This is a part that's really fun to do. You're going to need more room here. And we're going to separate everything like that. We're going to need some more room here. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy paste a rigging tree for each limb. So paste, paste. Might need more room here. Paste. It's getting a little crazy. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to paste them over here, side by side like this. How many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 6 rigging trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Copy paste 6. I have all 6 rigging trees. I'm going to press Ctrl H here and hook them all up to one thing. And I'm going to move this over here and get more room. Come on. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut those wires here. I'm going to grab my my cable cutters and just swipe across all of them. And then I'm going to grab all of my rigging trees, bring those up here. Now it may look really complicated, but after you do it once or twice, it's everything just will make sense. I'm going to cut this composite because we don't need it. And now I'm going to plug each one in their own little rigging tree. We're almost done. The video is almost over. We're going to plug each one in here. And what that's going to do is it's going to separate the line art and the color art from each limb. So now that everything looks good, everything is nice and neat, let's go back here. And what we're going to do in each one is we are going to grab the paint here and we're going to go and paste it in the color art layer. You want to make sure that this button is not turned on here. Apply to line art and color art. Make sure that it is not turned on. We're just going to click on the paint, going to cut it and paste it in the color art layer. Going to do that. Going to go back to the line art here. Going to press Control, click on this one here, cut the paint, Control X, go to the color art, Control V, go back to the line art, come over to the bicep, do the same thing. Cut the paint, paste it in the color art. Let's go to the bicep, But if I try to click on the bicep, it will not work because I'm in the color art layer, and there's nothing in the color art layer in the tricep. Got to click on the line art. Shift click. Grab the paint. Control X. Paste it in the color art. Control V. Let's go back to the line art. Click on the shoulder. Control click. Cut the paint. Control X. Paste it in the color art. And go back to the line art. Click on this piece here. Cut the paint. Control X. Paste it in the color art. Now let's go back here. Nothing has changed. The arm, we can still see these lines here. It doesn't look all that great, but this is where the magic happens. This is the auto patch from the hand here. We're in the hand. The auto patch. Remember that little note that we gave ourselves earlier on? The auto patch from the other limbs goes here. Watch what happens to this area here on the hand. I'm going to plug in the auto patch here. And we're going to grab the auto patch from the forearm. And we're going to plug that into this one here. And then watch what happens when I let go. The line art disappears. And now it looks like this. And it's beautiful. We're going to do that to all the pieces here. Just going to scroll over here. Now we want the forearm to bleed into this arm piece here. So the auto patch from the forearm is going to need to go not into the bicep, not into the tricep, not into the shoulder, but it needs to go into this arm here. So we're going to grab the auto patch from here, drag it all the way to the forearm and plug it into the forearm piece here. And now look, it's gone. We're going to do the same thing to the auto patch of the forearm. We're going to go to the arm here and we're going to plug it into this here. It's starting to look really good. And I think the bicep will need to plug into the arm piece here. So same thing with the tricep. The tricep needs to go into the arm. The auto patch needs to go into the tricep. Look at that. That looks good. The bicep needs to bleed into the arm. So most of these pieces are going into the arm. I'm going to grab another one here. Plug that into the bicep. There we go. And then finally the shoulder. And I think, you know what? I think I want the shoulder on top. So this is my shoulder here. I want the shoulder to appear on top. So I'm going to move the wires here so that it looks kind of like that. That's not too bad. And now if I parent up, it looks like this. And it looks like that. That's the shoulder is not the best yet. Okay, it's not the best, but we're going to fix that. Let's save it. I think, you know what? I think I'm going to stop the video here because this is a lot to take in. It's a lot to digest. And I don't want the video to be too long. But please, if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment, say thank you. Just give me a sign that you're happy you watched this video. And share this video out there. And I'll see you in the next one.